quartz is the second most abundant mineral in the Earth's continental crust, after feldspar. It is made up of a continuous framework of CO4 silicon-oxygen tetrahedra, with each oxygen being shared between two tetrahedra, giving an overall formula CO2. There are many different varieties of quartz, several of which are semi-precious gemstones. Especially in Europe and the Middle East, varieties of quartz have been since antiquity the most commonly used minerals in the making of jewelry and hardstone carvings. Etymology: the word quartz is derived from the German word Quartz, and its Middle High German ancestor Twark, which probably originated in Slavic, Polish twadi. Crystal habit and structure. Quartz belongs to the trigonal crystal system. The ideal crystal shape is a six-sided prism terminating with six-sided pyramids at each end. In nature, quartz crystals are often twinned, distorted, or so intergrown with adjacent crystals of quartz or other minerals as to only show part of this shape, or to lack obvious crystal faces altogether and appear massive. Well-formed crystals typically form in a bed that has unconstrained growth into a void. Usually the crystals are attached at the other end to a matrix and only one termination pyramid is present. However, doubly terminated crystals do occur where they develop freely without attachment, for instance within gypsum. A quartz geode is such a situation where the void is approximately spherical in shape, lined with a bed of crystals pointing inward. I+ or minus quartz crystallizes in the trigonal crystal system, space group P3121 and P3221 respectively. I² quartz belongs to the hexagonal system, space group P6222 and P6422, respectively. These spacer groups are truly chiral. Both I+ or minus quartz and I² quartz are examples of chiral crystal structures composed of achiral building blocks. The transformation between I+ or minus and I² quartz only involves a comparatively minor rotation of the tetrahedra with respect to one another, without change in the way they are linked. Varieties. Pure quartz, traditionally called rock crystal, is colorless and transparent or translucent, and has often been used for hardstone carvings, such as the Lethare crystal. Common colored varieties include citron, rose quartz, amethyst, smoky quartz, Milky Quartz, and others. Quartz goes by an array of different names. The most important distinction between types of quartz is that of macrocrystalline and the microcrystalline or cryptocrystalline varieties. The cryptocrystalline varieties are either translucent or mostly opaque, while the transparent varieties tend to be macrocrystalline. Chalcedony is a cryptocrystalline form of silica consisting of fine intergrowths of both quartz and its monoclinic polymorph muggonite. Other opaque gemstone varieties of quartz, or mixed rocks including quartz, often including contrasting bands or patterns of color, are agate, sard, onyx, carnelian, heliotrope, and jasper. Citron. Citron is a variety of quartz whose color ranges from a pale yellow to brown. Natural citrons are rare. Most commercial citrons are heat-treated amethysts or smoky quartzes. It is nearly impossible to tell cut citron from yellow topaz visually, but they differ in hardness. Citron has ferric impurities, and is rarely found naturally. Brazil is the leading producer of citron, with much of its production coming from the state of Rio Grande do Sul. The name is derived from Latin citrino, which means yellow, and is also the origin of the word citron. Sometimes citron and amethyst can be found together in the same crystal, which is then referred to as a metron. Citron is one of 3 traditional birthstones for the month of November. Rose quartz. Rose quartz is a type of quartz which exhibits a pale pink to rose-red hue. The color is usually considered as due to trace amounts of titanium, iron, or manganese, in the massive material. Some rose quartz contains microscopic rutile needles which produces an asterism in transmitted light. Recent X-ray diffraction studies suggest that the color is due to thin microscopic fibers of possibly dumortierite within the massive quartz. In crystal form it is called pink quartz and its color is thought to be caused by trace amounts of phosphate or aluminium. The color in crystals is apparently photosensitive and subject to fading. The first crystals were found in a pegmatite found near Rumford, Maine, USA. but most crystals on the market come from Minas Gerais, Brazil. Rose quartz is not popular as a gem. It is generally too clouded by impurities to be suitable for that purpose. Rose quartz is more often carved into figures such as people or hearts. Hearts are commonly found because rose quartz is pink and an affordable mineral. Amethyst. Amethyst is a popular form of quartz that ranges from a bright to dark or dull purple color. The world's largest deposits of amethysts can be found in Brazil, Mexico, Uruguay, Russia, France, Namibia and Morocco. Sometimes amethyst and citrine are found growing in the same crystal. It is then referred to as a metrine. An amethyst is formed when there is iron in the area where it was formed. Amethyst is the traditional birthstone for February. Smoky Quartz. Smoky quartz is a gray, translucent version of quartz. It ranges in clarity from almost complete transparency to a brownish-gray crystal that is almost opaque. Some can also be black. Milky Quartz. Milk quartz or milky quartz may be the most common variety of crystalline quartz and can be found almost anywhere. The white color may be caused by minute fluid inclusions of gas, liquid, or both, trapped during the crystal formation. The cloudiness caused by the inclusions effectively bars its use in most optical and quality gemstone applications. Varieties. Although many of the varietal names historically arose from the color of the mineral, current scientific naming schemes refer primarily to the microstructure of the mineral. Color is a secondary identifier for the cryptocrystalline minerals, although it is a primary identifier for the macrocrystalline varieties. This does not always hold true. Synthetic and artificial treatments. Not all varieties of quartz are naturally occurring. Piezoelectricity, an olive-colored material, is produced by heat treatment. Natural piezoelectricity has also been observed in Lower Silesia in Poland. Although citrine occurs naturally, the majority is the result of heat-treated amethyst. Carnelian is widely heat-treated to deepen its color. Because natural quartz is often twinned, synthetic quartz is produced for use in industry. Large, flawless, single crystals are synthesized in an autoclave via the hydrothermal process. Emeralds are also synthesized in this fashion. Occurrence. Quartz is an essential constituent of granite and other felsic igneous rocks. It is very common in sedimentary rocks such as sandstone and shale and is also present in variable amounts as an accessory mineral in most carbonate rocks. It is also a common constituent of schist, gneiss, quartzite and other metamorphic rocks. Because of its resistance to weathering, it is very common in stream sediments and in residual soils. Quartz, therefore, occupies the lowest potential to weather in the Goldnick dissolution series. While the majority of quartz crystallizes from molten magma, much quartz also chemically precipitates from hot hydrothermal veins as gangue, sometimes with ore minerals like gold, silver and copper. Large crystals of quartz are found in magmatic pegmatites. Well-formed crystals may reach several meters in length and weigh hundreds of kilograms. Naturally occurring quartz crystals of extremely high purity, necessary for the crucibles and other equipment used for growing silicon wafers in the semiconductor industry, are expensive and rare. A major mining location for high-purity quartz is the Spruce Pine Gem Mine in Spruce Pine, North Carolina, United States. The largest documented single crystal of quartz was found near Itapor, Goiás, Brazil. It measured approximately 6.1 A, 1.5 A, 1.5 am and weighed more than 44 tons. Related silica minerals, tridymite and cristobalite are high-temperature polymorphs of CO2 that occur in high silica volcanic rocks. Coesite is a denser polymorph of quartz found in some meteorite impact sites and in metamorphic rocks formed at pressures greater than those typical of the Earth's crust. Stishovite is a yet denser and higher pressure polymorph of quartz found in some meteorite impact sites. Chatlerite is an amorphous silica glass CO2 which is formed by lightning strikes in quartz sand. History. The word quartz comes from the German Quarzer, which is of Slavic origin. Other sources attribute the word's origin to the Saxon word queckluvterz, meaning cross-vein ore. Quartz is the most common material identified as the mystical substance Mabon in Australian Aboriginal mythology. It is found regularly in passage tomb cemeteries in Europe in a burial context, such as Newgrange or Carrowmore in Ireland. The Irish word for quartz is grian cloch, which means stone of the sun. Quartz was also used in prehistoric Ireland, as well as many other countries, for stone tools. Both vein quartz and rock crystal were knapped as part of the lithic technology of the prehistoric peoples. While jade has been since earliest times the most prized semi-precious stone for carving in East Asia and pre-Columbian America, in Europe and the Middle East the different varieties of quartz were the most commonly used for the various types of jewelry and hardstone carving, including engraved gems and cameo gems, rock crystal vases, and extravagant vessels. The tradition continued to produce objects that were very highly valued until the mid-19th century, when it largely fell from fashion except in jewelry. Cameo technique exploits the bands of color in onyx and other varieties. Roman naturalist Pliny the Elder believed quartz to be water ice, permanently frozen after great lengths of time. He supported this idea by saying that quartz is found near glaciers in the Alps, but not on volcanic mountains, and that large quartz crystals were fashioned into spheres to cool the hands. He also knew of the ability of quartz to split light into a spectrum. This idea persisted until at least the 17th century. In the 17th century, Nicholas Steno's study of quartz paved the way for modern crystallography. He discovered that regardless of a quartz crystal's size or shape, its long prism face is always joined at a perfect 60-degree angle. Quartz's piezoelectric properties were discovered by Jacques and Pierre Curie in 1880. The quartz oscillator or resonator was first developed by Walter Guyton Cady in 1921. George Washington Pierce designed and patented quartz crystal oscillators in 1923. Warren Marrison created the first quartz oscillator clock based on the work of Cady and Pierce in 1927. Efforts to synthesize quartz began in the mid-19th century as scientists attempted to create minerals under laboratory conditions that mimicked the conditions in which the minerals formed in nature. German geologist Carl Emil von Schorf-Occurrence was the first person to synthesize quartz when in 1845 he created microscopic quartz crystals in a pressure cooker. However, the quality and size of the crystals that were produced by these early efforts were poor. By the 1930s, the electronics industry had become dependent on quartz crystals. The only source of suitable crystals was Brazil. However, World War II disrupted the supplies from Brazil, so nations attempted to synthesize quartz on a commercial scale. German mineralogist Richard Nacken achieved some success during the 1930s and 1940s. After the war, many laboratories attempted to grow large quartz crystals. In the United States, the U.S. Army Signal Corps contracted with Bell Laboratories and with the Brush Development Company of Cleveland, Ohio to synthesize crystals following Nacken's lead. By 1948, Brush Development had grown crystals that were 1.5 inches in diameter, the largest to date. By the 1950s, synthetic quartz crystals were being produced and sold commercially. Piezoelectricity: quartz crystals have piezoelectric properties. They develop an electric potential upon the application of mechanical stress. An early use of this property of quartz crystals was in phonograph pickups. One of the most common piezoelectric uses of quartz today is as a crystal oscillator. The quartz clock is a familiar device using the mineral. The resonant frequency of a quartz crystal oscillator is changed by mechanically loading it, and this principle is used for very accurate measurements of very small mass changes in the quartz crystal microbalance and in thin film thickness monitors. Gallery of quartz mineral specimens from around the world, quartz scepters. Amethystine quartz. Citrons. See also, fused quartz, list of minerals, shocked quartz, quartz reef mining, references. External links, quartz varieties, properties, crystal morphology. Photos and illustrations, Arkansas quartz, rock hounding Arkansas, Gilbert Hart Nomenclature of Silica, American Mineralogist, Volume 12, pages 383–395, 1927, Queensland University of Technology. Origin of the word quartz. PDF of Charles Sawyer's Cultured Quartz Process Description, The Quartz Watcher. Inventors. The Lemelson Center, National Museum of American History. Smithsonian Institution. A terminology used to describe the characteristics of quartz crystals when used as oscillators.